Hello, y'all on YouTube. This is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have something coming in from Molsect Knives. That's somebody new, and I figured, yeah, they asked if I wanted to check it out, and I said, yeah, I'd like to. So let's take a look. All right, today I'm opening up my box with my Leon Ma design. This is the GSD2, get stuff done. Not really, but you know, that's what we're going to call it so we don't get demonetized. Beautiful M390 blade steel, wonderful little knife here. Love this Space Coral Fat Carbon. Just one of my first really nice knives. So I'm going to probably open up the box, but you know what? Before we do that, we can probably do that. Yeah, all right. So, but just so we say we cut it, there we go. So now we've cut it. All right, so what do we got? We got two knives in here. All right, very cool, very cool. Very interesting. And what do we got in here? Is it just a little shipping package? Yeah. All right, so a couple of knives. We're gonna just look at these. We'll look one at a time. Let's look at this first one. We'll just pick this one. So this one is, what does it say? Molsect Coastline. All right, Coastline. This is the Coastline. So cardboard packaging. You know, this is a budget, so you know, save the money on it on some of the packaging. But wait, this is just okay. This was just a fancy keep in the box safe packaging because now inside, ooh, you got a little hologram. Okay, made in China. All right, so this is Chinese made. So just so you know that, let's open this up. What do we got in here? All right, nice little case. I dig that. I dig that. It's almost like a leather kind of, ooh, and it's almost, yeah, it's like embroidered or whatever you call it, braided or something. All right, so we got a little button to open it up. That's got a wait, hold on. It's pleather. It looks just like leather. All right, very, very nice. What do we have in here? We got a little hardware. So what do we have? We have Molsect. Welcome to the Molsect family. All right, then in here you've got paracord, not for sale. So, all right, so this is a paracord that you could add to the knife. We'll take a look at that here in a second. A nice little cloth. That's cool. All right, we got a sticker. That may go on my wall of stickers. You know me. And then we have the knife. All right, so I do like to save stickers. I do like this is a nice cloth. That's a nice cloth. I may acquire that one. But you know, the other stuff I'll leave in here. All right, so let's take it out of the package here. All right, so there's the first one. And this one here again, this is called the, where's the name on here? Oh, this one here. This is called the Coastline Pocket Knife. All right, so this is the Coastline. All right, I'm curious about this because I'm going to open this and see what is in here. This is the paracord. All right, so typical paracord, you can create a paracord if you wanted to, so that's what that is. So no need to open, if there's another paracord in the other one, I won't open it, but all it is an included paracord. I just wanted to see what it's like, so you can add that to the back of it here somewhere. I don't really see a place to add it, unless you tie it on the back on here. I guess you could tie it here around the standoff. I guess that would work. Not really a lanyard loop or hole per se there. Very interesting. So put the sticker over there. All right, Molsect. All right, so G10, got some nice texture. Captive pivot. It is a flathead screwdriver. Cool. Some T6 screws. All right, so that is T6. It is inset for the clip. The clip is not bad. Steel. I'm pretty sure that's steel. This is a budget knife, right? So yeah, steel. It's not reversible. Right hand tip up only. All right. The screws are sort of recessed, but not all the way. I wish there was a little more room in here because that you know, I wear thick jeans and sometimes that might get caught in there. So that's something. Nicely chamfered all the way around. That's cool. And it is G10. And so the thing about G10 is if you wanted to round that, you could, with, you know, with a Dremel. That's your choice. Sometimes I do that with my G10 knives. Feels very solid. It is steel. So those are steel liners. Let's double check that. Yeah, steel liners there. So all the way in there, steel liners. Okay, so it's a flipper. Really no other alternative means. I don't think I can flip it there, but let's do the flipper first. The jimping goes all the way. It doesn't extend all the way. Okay, so my only recommendation, request, you know, if you ever decide to change this, add an extra line or two of jimping. Extend it all the way, at least to the very tip, because a lot of times people will come up here and they'll do that. They'll slip off, right? If you have a little jimping all the way to the front, I don't know if you can see here. You see how the jimping actually goes all the way here around the edge like that? That makes it so that you don't lose the jimping. And it would be really nice so that you're not slipping. But if you're up here, yeah, you'll get it. Works well. Nice drop point blade, flat grind. Nice long edge on this one, definitely sharp. I don't know what steel we're dealing with. Is it D2? Is it 14C28N? Did it say on the box? It does not. So I don't know unless it says on here. Does it say anywhere on the blade somewhere? Let's see. I'm looking to see if I can see it anywhere. I don't see it on there. Is it inside the scale? No. All right, so there's no weight relief on this. It's a solid piece of steel. That does give it some weight. It'll be kind of, this is the center of it, so this is more where you want to be. I have large hands with big meaty fingers, so I've got room here. So if you have if you have extra large hands with regular size fingers, double extra large hands with skinny fingers, this is kind of where you're going to be. Not really a choke up position, so, you know, much bigger hands than this is going to be kind of limited. It does round up. It's not straight and it doesn't pinch you here. I do like that. That's nice. All right, you got some cutout weight relief with a nice little texture. I like that. Little dots there gives you a little unique texture, and it does work. It does have some texture, and it is easy access. Let's feel how easy it's to get to. Not bad. Feels like it's on caged bearings. It does feel like it's on caged bearings. Okay, let's see where you cleared the detent. All right, so that's your detent where you clear it right there, and then it should drop. Now, I haven't put any oil in there. It hasn't broken in, right? I'm going to guess this is probably D2 or 14C20. Oh, wait, there it is. Oh, it's very hidden. I like that, though. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. 14C28N. Nice. Okay, that makes it a little nicer. That makes it a little bit nicer. Great budget steel. Really, really nice budget steel. I like the long edge. This is definitely a slicer. Now, it's pretty robust and thick. Comes to a nice tip. So you'll definitely be able to get in dog food, cat food, fertilizer, mulch, cases of water, right? It'll definitely have a nice sliceability. Comes to a nice thin, and I like the long edge. This is almost like a 15-degree angle edge. I bet that's around 15. That's what it looks like to me. And is it pretty? Yeah, it's pretty even on both sides. I'm really impressed with that. Yeah, that is really even on both sides. Not really quite a choil there. I know people who really like to see a little sharpening choil. You could add your own little sharpening choil right there if you wanted to. That can be a bummer to some people, others maybe not. What it means is that sometimes you'll add a smile right here. You'll get a smile. Now, to avoid the smiles, you could do a tie, a zip tie. And I've done that on my nicer knives. If I sharpen like a nicer knife like this, I would put a zip tie right here, so I don't have a little smile going into my choil. And that's a way to protect that. So that's something you can do. The jimping up here, functional, does work. Not a file. It's not going to tear off your top layer, but you push down, it does hold you in place. It's nice. Definitely has some weight. This is not a light knife. This is definitely, it's a budget knife. You know, there's a lot of things that you're saving on here. If I remember correctly, these knives are not super, super expensive. They're probably going to be somewhere between, I'm going to guess $40 and $60, somewhere in there. Definitely feels like it will break in nicely. I almost feel like I need to put a little bit of oil. I want to put a little oil in there. I want to see how that works. Let me just put a drop of oil in there, just because, you know, I mean, we're gonna do a review and all that stuff, but it can't hurt to put a little drop of oil and see, you know, how would that work. And so I'm going to put a little oil right where the washers are first. Give me just a second. Over here. All right. Now I'm put a little bit of oil on the detent ball. I don't know if you saw that. I did the little slip thing because I didn't have any jimping to catch a hold of. And so that's what I'm talking about. Why an extra line or two of jimping really would go a long way. I don't know how difficult that is. I don't know how much cost that adds to anything. If it's not, I think it's definitely worth it. I really do. You can never, I feel like that extra jimping right there. I mean, I have some high-end knives that don't have jimping, and I've actually gotten modders to add an extra line because they're just so frustrating sometimes, because I got big meaty fingers. Okay, if you got little itty bitty fingers that can get in there, you're always going to get in there, not a problem. But you got big old giant meaty fingers. I mean, come look at this. I can cover up the entire knife with my thumb. That's how big my fingers are. So, you know, maybe most people don't have that. Most people's thumbs are like that, right? You can just, you know, they're not like that. So that's why I do like to have a little extra jimping. It's a little easier for me to contact. I mean, if I'm thinking about it and I'm keeping my finger up there, it's fine. It's when you're not looking and you do that. That's when it's frustrating, right? So yeah, it's starting to break in. I think it'll work nicely. That is cool. That is very cool. All right, so let me put my oil away here. All right. Something I do recommend, you know, always I use nano oil, 85 and 10 weight nano oil if you're ever curious. It's the one I've always used. I don't have anybody who's asked me to use anything, so it's the oil that I've liked since the very beginning, and it always seemed to work really well for me. So, gotta clear that detent. There you go. So I got big meaty fingers and I can clear the detent. You just gotta make sure you get down to about right there. So once I push that in, it's just fine. It is a pretty crisp, I will say it's a pretty crisp detent. So let's listen to that. Nice and crisp for sure. All right, cool. That's the first one. All right, so let's take a look at the second one because I'm excited. I like this one. That's not bad at all. So this next one is the Jungle Pocket. Oh, okay. Jungle Pocket sounds exotic. All right, we'll move some of that stuff out of the way. Just make sure it's not in the shot. There we go. All right. I do like their case. I like the green color. That's cool for sure. This is a nice change in case. I think that's really, really stinking cool. All right, so you know what the paracord, we already opened that. We saw that. And then you have the nice little cloth, which is super nice. Do like that. All right. Well, this is a big boy. This is a big boy. Whew. All right. So if you're one and you go, man, I like it. Oh, look, it's even got a little pin and everything. Oh, interesting. All right. What if the other one had a pin? There's the sticker. What? Hold on a second. It did. It did have a pin. Look at that. All right. Debut year. Okay. All right. So that's cool. That's cool. Very cool. You get a little pin with that. All right. So you saw the stuff in here. This is real steel kind of size here. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna put this off to the side. This is a freaking big boy. Dang. Come on now. Woo. Okay. All right. So where's the detent? You can definitely have a double clutch issue here, which is a bummer. I mean, I have to go all the way here to double clutch. I wish that so nice. If you could just clear the clutch about right there, you don't get, there's the clutch and you don't clear till you're well past this, which means I got guillotine on my finger by that time. All right. So I can have this drop and I still can't clear the thumb. Yeah. So you have this drop, it's going to do that. And you're going to have to push it shut. All right. But it is a big boy. This is definitely a buoy with a swedge on. With a swedge on top. Definitely nice. Okay, some jimping up there. Functional, big old thumb studs. All right, G10 again. Nice and rounded here. Definitely. There's the Molsect. Okay, so this is a nice bigger clip. Now notice this. A lot more clearance on that clip. I like that. I like that. Now this comes up with that weird bill thing that comes up really, really sharp. This one's not as bad. It's kind of hidden. This one's a little bigger, but I mean, I guess for the big old ones. So if you guys with the big old giant hands wanted something for you, there you go, man. And finger troll. Yeah, the finger troll works. You can use the finger troll. Definitely can choke up like that. This is a big, I gotta see how big this guy is. I mean, come on. This is huge. Yeah, we're looking at 9 and 5/8. 9 and 5/8. This is a big boy. Let's see how big is that blade. A blade is over 4 and at least over 4 and a 16th, 4 and an 8th. It's definitely over 4, just over 4 and an 8th. That's a big. Going from there to there, we're looking at 4 and where's that 1/2? So quarter. That's 1/2. So yeah, we're about. I mean, if I do that, we're definitely 4 1/4. 4 1/4. That's a big boy. In the handle area, just so you know, I mean, we'll do this in the review, is 4 1/2. And if you do the finger choil, you know, you really can get yourself up to like 5 1/2. Yeah. So big old hands, plenty of room. You look at my hand, big old meaty, large hands with big meaty fingers, extra large hands, double extra, triple extra large hands, plenty of room. And if you choke up, I mean, come on. This is definitely made for gloves and stuff. Now, you can get past that. I mean, you click that, you just have to push it, all right? But it definitely, sometimes some people, there is some logic that some people will have. They'll have the detent catch right there because they don't want a big heavy blade to go down on someone, right? They don't want it to cut their finger. So the idea is that detent catches it so it doesn't fall on your finger. Well, I mean, if you catch it and you hold it there, it's kind of nice to be able to close it. So, I mean, I do this, I can still kind of get that done. Now, it's going to need some oil because you're going to hear it. You can hear the metal running across. Let's do a little, I should have kept the oil out, right? A little oil on that little puppy. I think it's definitely cage bearings on this one as well. Yep, definitely cage bearings. I can see that. I hear it running across. All right, so you've got a cutaway. You've got the little material there. It's pretty stiff. That's a pretty stiff lock bar. It's not an easy access. I wish there was a little more cutaway here, a little easier for me to get to, because my big old meaty fingers has a little hard time getting in there, right? I mean, I can get there, but I got to clear that, make sure I'm past that, and then you got to close that. So right there seems to be running. So we're just going to try to see if the path can get in there. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely a big old boy. And now is this one 14C28, does it say? Yep, 14C28. That's a nice big piece of 14C28. Flat grind, thick, robust. This is a workhorse. Absolutely a workhorse. Let's feel. Any blade play? Lockup is a good 50%. Any pivot lash? No. Detent? Let's listen. All right, let's listen on the other side where the lock bar actually is. Nice and clickety. Any detent lash? No, it's in there pretty good. Easy to flip. It's a big boy. It's a big boy. The double clutch is, for me personally, is a kind of a bummer, because if I'm gonna have a big old knife like this, I want to be able to open and close it one-handed. I don't want to have to come up and then do that. I don't want to have to think about it. I want to be able to do that, close it. And if I'm out there and I have the double clutch, sometimes I'm in a situation where I don't clear that double clutch, right? And if I'm up here, okay, now it's a heavy blade, but I'm up here. It might open up where I'm like right here, and then I do that, and it doesn't drop as easily, right? But it does clear. I mean, it's got a lot of weight to it, so it's not as bad as I thought. It's a little difficult closing left-handed, at least because it's so big. All right, wow, that's a big one. That is a big one. So if you like big blades, definitely worth considering. It's not bad. It reminds me of a little of that cold steel. Oh, of course I can't remember right now, but I'll have to come up with it. But there was a cold steel blade I reviewed a while back, and all right. So this first one, the first one we looked at. Oops, I'm dropping all these. All right, so this first one here, this is the Jungle Pocket. So the Jungle Pocket is the big boy. The Jungle Pocket is the big one. All right, so this is the Jungle Pocket. And then this little guy right here, the one on top, is the Coastline Pocket Knife. So, I mean, it looks like a giant next to the little guy. So, I mean, you have options. You have options. Let's see, what is this little guy? So he's 7 5/8. 7 5/8, right? Yeah. Then you got a blade that's about right at 3.5, not bad. Grip area, you've got just 3 3/3. Not really much else, 3 3/4. So, this one's limited to about my grip. I think you could probably do an extra large, big meaty fingers. If you have normal size hands, you could probably do a double extra large, maybe. If you're okay being over just a little bit, it would work. I mean, it's nice. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I don't know what the prices are. I'll have a link down below in my description. Definitely worth checking out. I think these are priced really well, really well. I'm not disappointed checking these out. I will tell you that much. Okay, so some of you guys would be like, I carry really nice knives. I carry some custom knives. You know that. I love that. I mean, this is one of my cheaper Chinese knives, and it's still pretty expensive, right? And This is definitely more premium than this. You know, these two are very different realms of knives, right? This is much more premium, but you're also paying a lot more. But if you're looking for a budget knife, you know, I did the 704 Tactical. Had some great knives he was coming out with. I liked his stuff. This Molsect, man, I'm digging this. I'm digging this. This is nice. This is something worth considering. If you're like, I didn't like the aesthetics of all of that. I like the aesthetics. I mean, I got to tell you, I like the aesthetics of this one a lot. This is the one that really appeals to me. Flipper works. Like I said, I wish an extra line or two of jimping. That would go a long way as far as I'm concerned. The axis here, not bad, easy to get to. And left-handed, no problem. I like that. I like that a lot. I don't think, can I get a bonus flick? Let me see. Yeah, it's a little stiff on the detent, so I don't have enough to, oh, hold on. I just did it. Oh, I kind of sort of can get that bonus flick. Maybe if I break it in. Okay, there we go. So I got the bonus flick. Hold on, I got to just figure it out. Yeah, okay. So as I break it in, I think I can do it. Let me see if I can do it. I absolutely can do it left-handed. Yeah, okay. So you definitely have bonus flick on this one, which is nice. That gives me options, I like the look of this. This is more around the size of what I normally would carry, right? Because it kind of falls in line with this guy over here. It's a little smaller, but it's close. It's close to that, right? But this is nice. This is nice. Now, I like checking stuff out like this because I know some people love big knives. You love your giant cold steel Recon. I think it's a Recon 1 or something, I think. Is that what it is? That's coming to me. Boy, this is so big. My hands are just not big enough to get over there. So I've got to clear that. I can't even reach across to do that. So for me, opening it left-handed, it's fine, but closing it is hard. The only thing I really wish on this one, there was a little bit more cutaway here, a little more access to the lock bar. Either you had a little chamfering going in where the steel dropped a little bit below the carbon fiber, and then the carbon fiber had sort of like, you know how you have a chamfer here? Reverse chamfer, like here's the top. So you kind of come up and you round it, not sharp, but you round it and you drop it in. So the chamfer goes down to the top of the steel. And that way you have just a little easier access there, especially for big meaty fingers. Because big hands, they're gonna, most likely the big old hands are gonna have big meaty fingers. I mean, they're gonna be closer to this size, meatiness of a finger, right? Typically, right? And not always, but typically. So I think that would go a long way for those. And if they were in gloves, it's a little harder to get into that way as well, because someone might wear a glove using this, and it might be a little harder to get there with the glove. I don't think there's enough. Yeah, it's not enough real easy traction there. There's not enough texture on there to get past that. Thumb studs work. You've got one barrel really right there. It's one. It does work. It's not terrible. A lot of times people will have a little more kind of a volcano shape. You know, it's more angled, kind of step milling going up. Definitely a big blade. This is definitely robust. This feels like you could just do some hardcore work. It almost feels like a Bowie fixed blade, right? I mean, I don't know. I like that. It's a big boy. It's a big boy. I like the G10. I like the black G10. I like the captive pivot. I like the chamfering all the way across. There's no hot spots. I love the fact when I'm in here, it's not pinching. It's kind of got a little angle. I feel like that's good. I love the texture, the scale textures. That's a nice touch. That is a nice touch. T6s, I can deal with that. I get sometimes why T6s is important. I know that now here's a lanyard loop right there. So that's definitely where your paracord could go through on this guy. It's got a back spacer on this one. Definitely steel liners. Let's double check that again. Yep, steel liners. Steel clip, of course. And no weight relief in the steel and inside. I mean, that does save on costs. And so they're trying to get into a very budget-friendly realm here. And I think if you don't mind a weight, you can save some money. If weight is a huge, huge deal, the only thing that I would recommend is to just drill some holes, some zeros through there, through the steel scale before they put it on there. It won't necessarily decrease the integrity of the knife, but it would do some tremendous weight relief. You could drop maybe 20, 30% based on those steel liners, right? Because that's always going to add a lot of weight. So on this one, where's my center? about right there. So it's close to being centered right there. But when you choke up, it's definitely going to be back heavy. But yeah, that's a big boy. That's a big boy. And I don't have small hands, but I don't have gigantic hands. I think someone with gigantic hands would definitely enjoy that. Now I can reach the jimping here. Now, if you got big old hands, you might be up here. So maybe, another thought, extend the jimping a little bit, because you're trying to make this for someone with big hands, right? I mean, that feels like that's the market that you're going for. And if that's the case, maybe their thumb might be a little bit higher. So maybe just consider the jimping going just a little bit further. Just a thought, if that's your intent of your market. I know you can look at some of the other people who have big knives. It's kind of what they do. They do, the jimping usually goes just a little bit further. But those are all things that add cost. And if you're trying to go for give the best bang for the buck, there's a lot here. There's a lot here. I'm not going to tell you that I'm a crazy fanboy of everything, but I don't hate this. I look at a knife for what it is and what they offer, right? I'm not going to compare this to a sheer Gorf. That would be ridiculous. I'm not going to compare it to a Brown Knives. I'm not going to compare it to Skiff made blades. I'm not even going to compare it to a Riot made Leon Ma. That would be ridiculous. That would be unfair, right? That would not be fair. This is a budget realm knife. 14C28, great offering, great budget steel. So a lot of times when you see this, you get D2, which I call the super budget area, and that's where you get down to the $20, $30 range, under $40, right? This is definitely going to be, I think these are in the $50, $60 range, I'm guessing. This might be in the 60, I don't know. We'll have a link down below. I'll have a link, and you can see the knife for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm not hating it. This is a big boy, but if I needed a big, giant axe kind of a knife, man, I mean, this does the deal. It does the work. It's for sure something worth considering. Wow. But again, of my two, this is probably my personal favorite right here. Now, one thing I did notice on this over here, that this one did well, it had the jimping go all the way out to the very end. I mean, it would be nice if it went maybe right there, but it's pretty close to the very tip. It's closer to the very tip on this one than this one over here. This one stops like right over here. You can see that there's that whole section right there. All right, so let's do a little zoom in, compare the two, bring them close together, and let's look at the blades together. All right, I'm going to put them down on the ground so we can kind of have them together. Now, this one over here, flat grind, you got a flat part up here, you got a swedge, which is a Bowie. So we got a little Bowie here, flat grind all the way here, 14C28. Both have a flipper, different types of flipper. This one's a much bigger knife. You can see that, obviously. If you look at the thickness of the blade, I think we're dealing with, is it about the same? I think it's maybe close to the same. The jimping's extended almost exactly the same, so it tells me that that's probably, the machine's programmed just to go that far out, which that's fine. That's fine if that's what you think. I think on a bigger knife, extend that. Just my personal recommendation. I think you would have more appeal. That's just my two thoughts, my 2 cents on there. All right, so scale-wise, I love the G10. I love the scale texture on this one. I think that's cool. That's really cool. That's a nice touch. I love the chamfering all the way across here. I love this texture up here. Love a little cut out, a little cut down here. Kind of gives it a contoured shape. Nice up here. You'll see that. Nice chamfering up here. Chamfering all the way around. Captive pivot. Beautiful. I mean, that's a nice pivot. It says, for Molsect, it says Molsect. The M kind of stands out. I think that's really cool. And, it kind of pops nicely. It's not overstated. You don't have a lot of billboarding, which I do appreciate. T6s, I get T6s. Sometimes getting T8s, they have to be thinner and it's easier for the top of the screw to break. Sometimes T6s can be tougher, but if you're going to do T6s, make sure they're the deep T6s so that when you put the torque wrench in there, it has a solid grip and it's a solid T6. It's not a really thin T6 with a thin base and a thin crown. Make sure that it's a solid, strong T6. If you're going to do T6, don't do the really weak, cheap ones, right? That's my only recommendation. Hope, request, plead, beg, whatever, just because I think people will enjoy that, because this is a knife people probably going to hard use and they're going to take apart and clean, right? So they will definitely be taking these apart regularly. All right. That being said, let's flip this puppy around here and let's flip it around here. And then we have, of course, the Molsect. You do have the branding here. I get it, Molsect, it's your thing. It could be a little smaller. You could still have that beautiful, you could still have that impactful thing like you do over here. This is really classy. This M, really nice touch. It really pops well. It really complements it well. This is almost kind of like, you know, here's the knife. Everything's really nice. We're nice and quiet. We're really stating it well. And then we've got this thing and it feels like someone's, Molsect, you know, really loud in the middle of everything. It could be a little smaller. You know what I'm saying? Some people would prefer nothing. I get that. You know, you're brand new. You want to get your name out. I get it. Just maybe a little smaller, maybe etched in, lasered in. I don't know. Feels like it might be lasered after you coated the clip, but something smaller, a little more distinct. I get that's your font and everything, but you know, could be just a little smaller, just a little smaller. It just doesn't have to, like that size here would work well, and half that size here would work well, right? That's my only recommendation. But I love the G10. The G10 is really nice. This dragon scale thing here, this reptile scale, that's, yeah, good. This over here, really good. I like that. This right here, chamfering all the way around, nice. I don't mind the flathead here. That's probably, are we looking at a, I don't know if I have it. What is that? Is that going to be a, what are we dealing with? Is that a P? Is that an LS6? Let's see. Yeah, it feels like an LS6. Let's see, do I have anything small like an SL5? Are these all SL6? That's SL8. That's SL6. It's definitely not an SL8. Nope. So that's an LS6. And I have an S5. This is an S4, and that's definitely too small. Yeah, that's definitely too small. So it feels like it's a 6 or a 5. I don't know. Just keep that in mind. An S6, you're going to need a flathead for that. I wouldn't get something too small because you'll strip it. You want to get a good contact, you know, and want it to be a flathead. That's, you know, one of those that's hollow grind kind of a flathead, right? So, all right, so let's look at the blade here on the back side. Again, very minimalistic. Red little pivot here. Single little step milled. It works. It's better than a full barrel. I like that. I don't know if that was intentional. If you could maybe consider a couple of steps, it might be a little nicer for some. Doesn't matter. It's better than just a straight barrel. I do appreciate that. I love the flat grind here. This is definitely meant to be very robust with that short flat, and then the flat up here, you're definitely meant to work hard. The tip here comes to a nice pointy tip, but nice swedge, so it's definitely meant to work hard for the cut. Again, this comes to a nice thin tip up here, but it's still pretty thick, robust throughout. So definitely more of a slicer work kind of a knife for sure. So I do like that. The flippers both work really well. Again, very impressed with the G10 scales. I think that's just a nice touch. I do wish on the 2 here, you can almost see here, got a little easier cutaway lock bar. It's a little more rounded. It fits the shape of a thumb nicer. This is flatter, and so it's not as easy to get in. And that is one thing I've noticed. So with my big old thumb, it's easier for the round shape to get in there, right? That's nicer. Whereas this is flat, and it's not as easy to get in there. You've got a lot of pressure right here that's digging, and this is round here. So I've got a lot of pressure digging at a more smaller point of my thumb. Where it's rounded, it's distributing the weight over, right? So think about the physics. My shape of my thumb has a curvature, and this one has a curvature, so I'm distributing the weight. It's easier to open. This is flat. You're not distributing the weight. It's a little harder to open. So, you know, either drop it down a little bit, chamfer it, something, just get a little easier for a big old meaty finger, especially if this is going to be a glove, you know, someone's going to use with a glove, outdoor, you know, hard use. I mean, that's what I see this as, really a hard use kind of outdoor kind of knife that could really be a workhorse type of knife. And you don't want them to suddenly just like throw this knife away because they can't work it with their hands in the glove, right? Just something to think about. If you have any future iterations of it, I think it has so much potential. I really, really like so many things about it. Just a couple of small things that you know, it's my job to look at these knives and give you my thoughts. especially something new, I really feel like they have some potential here to kind of take off. And if they fix a few of these things early, I mean, they're gonna go gangbusters, right? If if they just stick to their guns and they stick with this, they'll get some interest, but you're not gonna catch fire going to people, because after a while people will use it and then they'll be like, yeah, I just quit using it because my thumb kept slipping off, or I had a hard time opening this, or whatever, right? And then and the reason why I say that is just feel the two. This is so much easier to open this one here because I'm distributing the weight on the angle. So I know I'm saying a lot. I feel like it's my job to share that because there's so much potential here. There really is so much potential here. And I feel like this could be a really gangbusters knife. This one's really close. I mean, you do two things on both of these knives. Well, three things, right? On this one, just add an extra line of jimping. It's not a lot. It's not like the end of the world, but I can already feel my finger slipping off, and that does get annoying. And sometimes it can cause a finger to get bruised if you fidget with it a lot. That's the minor thing on this one, right? Besides weight relief, if that's not adding too much cost, that's another thing. But here, this cutout would be huge. And then the detent, this very late detent right there. And I don't know if that was intentional. You thought of it because it's a heavy blade. You don't want it to go down on the finger. If you can clear the detent right here, and then someone can drop it, and then they can do a drop. That would be really nice for some people. One-handed operation. Okay? Those are my two thoughts. But otherwise, I think this knife has so much critical potential. I'm very impressed. My first time experiencing Molsect, my first time checking these guys out, I think they've got something really cool here. I like a lot of things. I like the aesthetics. This is my favorite. It just looks nice. And it feels really, really nice. It really does. I really dig this one a lot. Let me see. Can I figure it out? Hold on. What? Hold on. I was doing it earlier. There we go. So I just got to figure out. Now, if this was my own knife and I wasn't going to plan on giving this away, which these will be giveaways after I do a full review and everything, I will say that I would probably lighten the detent just a hair to give me that reverse flick. Now, some people really like the super crisp detent, and that's fine. If you like that, fine. All right, hey, I'm unboxing two knives, giving you my first impressions, talking about it. It's a long one. If you stayed this long, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you've already dropped, you're not going to hear any of this. But if you hung around, you either put it on play and you can't turn it off, or you've fallen asleep, or you're working and you can't get back to it, or you're genuinely interested to hear all my thoughts, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. I like what they're doing. I think it's a great, both of these knives are really cool. I think they're really, really cool. I think a couple of just minor things, and these knives I think they could dominate. I really do. I think they could really dominate. I think they could really push it. So if you wanted this knife to like really take off, as it is right here, it's really cool. Make it just a little bit bigger there. Consider some weight relief in the scales, the liners in here, drill out some holes, put an extra line of jimping, at least one, get it off to the edge, maybe one over to the corner, right? And yeah, I think that's it. For this one would be just gangbusters. This would be gangbusters. It's got a beautiful look to it. It's just a really function. I mean, some people will say, well, it's not a very, crazy looking knife. No, it's not, but it's got some unique textures, some unique curves to it. It's got, it's just offering a lot of look for the price, I think. It's nice. 14C28, definitely. For this one, I think, especially people who are going to use gloves, there's so many. I like the clip way better. I think that's great. Thumb studs, they can work. It's got at least one level of jimping. I think if you can do two, if it's possible, consider it. Maybe the second step mill right there, have step, 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 and then just maybe two or three. Instead for one, maybe do two, maybe three, but do at least two. It's a small thing. Is it critical? No, because when I get up here, it works. It does work. But I think if someone's going to fidget with this after a while, it's better than a barrel. But that's my other thing. The other thing is I would definitely consider a better cutout. Round it. Make it feel a little easier to get to, especially people who've got gloves, because they're going to have lots of material trying to get to that. they're not going to be able to push down and feel that as well. And I've got big old meaty fingers. And so you've got this digging on the round part of my hand. Just consider that. Consider that maybe either rounding it here or just having a little more weight relief and chamfering it in so you can get easier access to the lock bar. And the detent. Make sure, you know, if you can you get the detent right there, right where your finger catches like that? If you could drop it right there and instead for the detent to be right there. So I don't know how far. Okay, so I'm looking at the lock bar and I'm seeing there's the lock bar. It's up there. Where are we engaging? I'm just looking. And where is that? Okay. So in order to do that, it does look like you would have to probably bring the cut of the blade in just a little bit deeper. Oh, sorry, not in deeper. You would have to make this not as deep here. Push that further back, which means your stop pin would move back just a little bit further because it looks like you're using this part right here as your stop pin for your close. It's like your closed stop pin, right? This is your blade pin, when you open pin, when you're blade stop. This is the blade stop here, and then this is the closed stop pin. It's acting as both. And if you did that, then you could have perhaps a little more material on that. Yeah. And then you could bring that up a little bit, and then that could curve down over here a little bit. That would be a more rounded shape over there. You would actually have a little more room up here. It'd be a little closer. Bring the jimping up. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking about how this knife could just really. Maybe you don't want to hear this, and that's fine. But I like it. I'm giving you my first impressions of it. I think it's good. If none of these things matter to you, and you just dig this blade, you like the look of it and everything, it's pretty solid. I will tell you, it's solid. It's solid open, solid closing. There's a few things for my shape of my hands, the length of my fingers, that make this a little more difficult because it's a bigger knife, right? It's more difficult. I can't quite reach up there like that, where I can here, right? It's easier for me to get up here like that. So how I handle this knife right here is going to be a little bit different than, let's see here. Come on. Well, I was doing it before. Yeah, anyways, my hand's getting tired. But I like this. I like it. I think it's cool. It's definitely, this would be too big for me. And the way it is right now, I couldn't really comfortably use this knife. Maybe bigger hands, it's not a big deal. But that's my thoughts. That's my first impression, my first handling of this knife. I dig it. I think it's cool. I think for a first offering of a knife, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. Usually a first offering means that you're learning things, you're getting better. And if they're going to get better from here, I think they could be a contender. Sound like a Rocky movie here. Adrian, I could be a contender. Sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this. Forgive me, I'm sorry. I'm regressing into my 1980s, 90s Rockies movies here. But anyways, I think it's cool. I like it. Thank you, Molsect, for letting me check these out. My favorite is this one for sure. It fits more my hand, obviously, and I think this one's really pretty dynamite. I love 14C20. I love the G10. All that good stuff. All right, first impressions. We'll do a review. We'll have more thoughts on this. I'll be a little more coherent. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, informative, or entertaining, consider hitting that like button down below. And if you've already hit that like button, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. Subscribing and liking the channel really helps me out. It allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. Like check out cool knives like this, new offerings, which I am super excited about. I really am. I've had some ones I've checked out. I wasn't as excited as I am about this one. And I really feel like this is a first time offering. I've seen others who came out and they were like this and they got way better as they progressed. And you know, if they take, you know, the same route of improving, I think we got some cool offerings, some nice things out there. Yeah, that's thanks to you guys. So if you haven't, so the other thing is thank you to everyone who enjoys the content, who enjoys the videos, who likes, subscribes, who part of the live stream, who's part of the community, I appreciate you. Thank you. If you haven't already, hit that notification button down below so you can be notified of future content. And a big shout out, thank you to all my channel members out there for supporting the channel, allowing me to do things way sooner than I ever thought I'd be able to do, and encourage me many, many times when I was not really going to keep going, right? So I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Because of your generosity and the memberships, I want to be generous back to you. So I do a couple of things for the members. I do a once a month exclusive members giveaway. Usually it's a nicer knife, something really cool, as opposed to just a weekly budget banger giveaway, something really nice every week, like something like this, I think this would fall into my budget banger kind of giveaway. And these are ones I would be pretty excited to give away. Because I can tell you, if I wasn't, you would not ever see this video. Because I've had some knives I've never even dropped. I've actually told them, I said, hey, can I just maybe just ship them back to you, because I really don't feel like I can say anything really positive. And yeah, and so I would prefer just not to say anything, because then I look like a person who's really critical, and why would I even have considered that knife with some of the criticism I've given? These I really thought looked cool. So, and I'm glad I did, because they are cool. All right. Thanks to you channel members for that. So if you thought, hey, I'd like to become a channel member, how do you become a channel member? Check out the description down below. There's a link for 3 different tiers. I'd love to have you in any level if you want to be. Please don't ever feel obligated to be. Just enjoy the channel if that's all you want to do. But if you want to be a channel member, I am super grateful. And you would be part of the monthly members giveaway. And then also, brand new channel members, I would love to send you a channel sticker and a little note saying thank you. So email me with your name and address if you haven't already, and you're a channel member. Love to mail you a sticker. As long as you're currently a member right now, whether you became a brand new channel member, whether you were a channel member all along, or you were a channel member before and then became a channel member again, as long as you're a member right now, email me with your name and address. I'd love to mail you a sticker and a little thank you note. If you haven't already, check me out on Instagram over at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week.